Manage your supply chains like a boss. Will you make it? With containers shipped stuck in canal and employees giving you a hard time? Meet Skuz, a unique board game about global scale supply chain management by the company that's an expert in supply chain.
Test your strategy as you handle challenges like blocked canals, team disagreements, and aging products. Will you outsmart your competitors, or will they exploit your weaknesses? Discover the complexities of planning in an uncertain world, but in the safe environment of your own home.
That's right. Skuz simulates the hostile environment of supply chain management, something that has become even more relevant during the large-scale disruptions over the last few years.
And today we'll be teaching you how to play Skuz, published by Lokad, a Paris-based software company. That's Paris, France, not Paris, Texas.
And hello everyone, it's Stella.
And Tarrant here from Maple University.
For more information on how to get the game, we've put link in the description. Now, let's get to the game.
Skuz is a game about managing your supply chain. In the box, you'll find all of these components. Money, representing coins in 1s and 3s. A marker for tracking the turn count. 2 dice. They have 6 sides, but they range in number between 1 and 3. 54 brown-backed strategy cards. These include incidents, customers, and playable cards, everything you might come across when managing a supply chain. The red-backed cards, these are a key part of game setup, and a brief but insightful rulebook. To set up, shuffle all of the brown-backed strategy cards together into a single deck. Split the red-backed cards into these 4 types. Each player takes a rules card, any one of the factory and store cards, and 1 boss. Each of these has its own unique player power, which may determine the tactics with which you play the game. Place your boss, your factory store card, and 5 coins in front of yourself. In the center of the table, place the turn counter with the marker on 1. Choose a first player, and you're now ready to play. Skuz is played in turns, and each player participates in each turn. There will be between 7 and 10 turns in each game. Each turn is played in 3 phases: the production phase, promotion phase, and sales phase. In the production phase, you'll order stock from your factory and set the supply chain in motion. In the promotion phase, you'll draw strategy cards from the deck, trying to find as many customers and ways of selling your goods as you can. And in the sales phase, you'll sell goods from your store and find out whether your supply chain matches your promotional efforts. When the game reaches its end, it's the player who has the most money in cash, not tied up in stock, who wins the game. The first phase is the production phase. Simultaneously, each player decides how much stock they're going to order from their factories. To do this, take any amount of money from your treasury and place it into the factory. Then take the same amount of money from the bank and also place that into the factory. This represents the purchasing of stock. In this case, I have spent 2 coins on stock, and I'm expecting that I'll be able to sell that stock for 4 coins. Each player now individually rolls 1 die and advances all stacks of coins on their factory store boards that many spaces towards the store. That includes any stacks of coins that you placed this round and any that are there from previous rounds. Any coins which reach the store stop there and don't advance any further. This represents your supply chain, goods being manufactured in the factory and then transported over various means of transport to your store. There are many steps in the supply chain and many places this can go wrong, and that's why you don't know exactly how long these goods will take to reach your store. Step 2 is the promotion phase. All players draw 3 cards from the strategy card deck. Next, in turn order, players must resolve the customers and incidents they've just drawn. All customers have the word customer at the top, and you simply place that on the table in your area. Incidents all have different names, but they all have the word incident down here below the text. You must reveal your incidents and resolve the text. If you draw multiple incidents on the same turn, choose only one to resolve. All other cards, they have different titles and don't have the word incident, are considered playable cards. You keep these cards in your hand and you may play them at any relevant time to resolve their text. You can have at most 3 playable cards in your hand at the end of this phase, and if you have more, you must discard down to 3. Turn order can matter for many of these incidents, so once one player has completed all customers and incidents, move to the next player and so on around the table. Incidents and playable cards are discarded after they're resolved, and if the draw deck ever runs empty, shuffle the discard pile to form a new draw deck. You'll then move on to the sales phase. Your aim is to have your supply chain match your promotional efforts. In other words, you want as many coins in your store as you have customers on your tableau. In this phase, for each customer, move 1 coin from your store to your treasury. This represents selling goods to that customer. If your supply chain doesn't exactly match your promotional efforts, then this will result in a negative business consequence. If there are more customers than there is stock, then you have a stock out. You sell as much as you can, but then you must lose exactly 1 of your unserved customers, giving it to the player on your right. The recipient technically gains the new customer immediately, but can't sell to that customer until the next turn. Note that stockouts aren't resolved in the first turn. These can only occur beginning in turn 2. On the other hand, if you have more stock in your store than you have customers to sell to, then after selling, you lose exactly 1 of your excess stock as dead stock. This stock has become aged and is no longer able to be sold for a profit. Unlike stockouts, dead stock can occur in turn 1. Once all players have resolved the sales phase, they'll hang on to their customers. These represent returning customers and ability to sell stock over and over. You'll now proceed to the next turn. Starting from the 7th turn, you'll begin checking for the end of the game before anyone takes any actions in the production phase. To do this, roll 1 die. If the number is a 3, then this is not the final turn. You'll play a full turn and then continue to the next turn, up to a maximum of 10 total turns. However, if this roll reveals a 1 or a 2, then this will be the final turn. Play the final turn in full, including and up to the sales phase. The player who finishes the game with the most money in their treasury is the winner. Be wary of having any money tied up in stock at the end of the game, as this will not count towards your chance at victory. The game has a variety of incident cards, which reflect some of the types of things which can impact real supply chains across the world. Sometimes these will apply to all players, while in some cases you'll be able to choose which opponent suffers. Sometimes there'll be an effect which targets perhaps a player with the most or fewest of something, and in the case of a tie, it's the player who drew the card who chooses which of the tied players suffers the effect. In a case where the mathematics doesn't yield a whole number, it's the player who drew the card who chooses whether to round up or down. Also be sure to make use of your boss's special and thematic power. For example, your Chief Operating Officer has more power to control the supply chain. The Chief Financial Officer is good at investing and generating money. The Chief Technical Officer can reuse and make some money out of dead stock, and so on. And that's how to play Skuz. Check out the link to the Skuz homepage in the video description below if you're interested in purchasing the game.
And thanks so much for watching. Hope you're now on your way to managing supply chains like a boss.